Do you remember that as a child, your mom would tell you, drink your milk and you'll get taller? And then you grow up and you realize that your height is very similar to your parents. Why is that? So the answer may lie in genetics. We use heritability as a scale to decide how important genetics is for a trait. It runs from 0, which means genetics has nothing to do with this trait, to 100%, which means the genetics pretty much dictates that trait. Height, for example, has a heritability estimate of 80 to 90%. BMI, on the other hand, has a heritability estimate of 30 to 60%. So all that milk that you're drinking probably led to a higher BMI at one point. You see, most of our genomics is very similar to each other, except for some portions that are different, and these are called genetic variants. Some variants are very common in the population and others are very rare. They're so rare that they may occur once every 100,000 or even 10,000 or less in a population. So for a long time, scientists only focused on the common variants, and this led to a huge problem. You see, the common variant heritability, when compared with the family study heritability, was always less, regardless of the trait. And this became known as the issue of missing heritability. And we think that this lies in the rare variants. You see, even the rare variants are individually very rare. In a total population, there are far more rare variants than common variants. In fact, everyone in this audience likely has 400 potentially harmful rare variants. And that is why it is so important to study these variants. So here's another problem. It requires a very large population, which we simply didn't have until about 5 years ago, when the UK Biobank released this massive amount of data to the global research community. It consisted of DNA sequence from about 200,000 individuals at that time, and all sorts of health information like blood biomarkers and body measurements and a lot more. It had 5 million rare variants in this. And so the day that I got that news, I was so excited that I just squealed like a little girl, because now I had the power to unravel the total contributions of all of these rare variants. And I could find the missing heritability. So there's another problem. Finding the total contributions of 5 million variants in 200,000 individuals is computationally impossible all at once. So we had to get a bit creative. This is what we did. We created a mathematical tool called a rare variant heritability estimator, or rarity for short. And the way that it works is you divide up the whole genome into smaller portions, the genes, and you calculate the heritability estimates for each portion, and then you combine it all together. This was really powerful because now I not only knew the heritability, the overall influence of all of the rare variants on a specific trait, but I could also find the individual contributions of each gene and therefore know which ones are important. What's even more, I could do this for many traits in one shot. This is what we found. For the 31 traits that we studied, heritability was significant for most of the traits, with 1.8% heritability for glucose to 21.9% in height. If this looks a bit too overwhelming, let's look at the lipid profile, which is commonly used for as a diagnostic tool for heart diseases and strokes and other diseases. And here, the heritability ranged from 5.8% in LPA to 12.3% in ApoB. So this is considerably large, considering that we're looking at rare variants and at the population level. What's more, I was able to identify 218 gene biomarker relationships, 11 of which were novel in our study. So these form important targets for future therapeutics. And the most exciting thing of all, we recovered the missing heritability. And we did this perfectly, almost perfectly, for 11 of the 31 traits, and nearly so for the rest. So in conclusion, for the first time ever, we had a tool that could estimate the total influence of all of the rare variants for multiple traits in one shot. And we could prioritize genes. The tool could help us with classifying different mutations, and we could find the missing heritability. With that, I thank you all for listening, and obviously my amazing team. I want you to leave here today excited about the power of big data in human health, and as well as appreciate the untapped potential of rare variants. If you have any questions, please reach me in the QR code there. Thank you very much.